Hello, and welcome to the Underpaid Gamers Podcast. My name is Tony. I'm with my friend and colleague, Justin.
Hey!
For all those of you who don't know, the Underpaid Gamers Podcast, we talk about video games, mostly, and blockbuster movies, generally superhero-oriented, but no relation to anything big.
Nerd stuff.
Nerd stuff. You like to talk about Star Trek.
I do, sometimes.
I've never seen Star Trek, so I don't like to talk about it. You love to talk about Star Wars.
Yep.
I don't think we're talking about any of those things today. Well, we're talking about video games.
We are.
And some movies.
Yes.
But not the specific things. Anyway, let's get right into it. I'm cleaning my glasses, so I'm distracted. Well, this is the part where I say Underpaid Gamers is the official podcast of underpaidgamers.com. You can find us on Twitter at UPGamersPodcast. You can find us on the email spectrum at underpaidgamerspodcast@gmail.com. We're on YouTube at Underpaid Gamers. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play at Underpaid Gamers Podcast.
Yep. And if you want to check out our website, underpaidgamers.com, official podcast.
Yeah.
Which I think you already said.
Yeah, that's how I started.
It's okay.
My glasses still aren't clean, though.
We're just sandwiching it all together.
So today we're going to talk about... I have two topics in mind.
Yep.
One, there's a PlayStation press conference where they announced the PS4 Pro.
Yep.
And another thing is we have decided, I have made you. We're talking about video game soundtracks and which are the best. There's not a section
where...
That's
pretty much it.
Yeah. There's not a section where we talk about the worst, because I don't care that much.
Yeah.
But soundtracks are very important to both of us. So we're going to talk about that. Sure. But first, we have some news.
Yeah,
now, keep in mind, the NFL season just started on Thursday. Yep. There's not a lot of news. Not because they haven't been looking, but because everybody's watching football. So I have like 3 things in news, and one of them overlaps with one of yours. So really, we only have 3 things in news total.
Yep. So here we go.
You want to give yours first?
Yeah, sure. Fallout 4 and the much anticipated Skyrim remastered.
Definitive.
What do they call it? Remastered, something like that.
The new thing, the new Skyrim
that Bethesda's making for the PS4.
Yep.
Was said to have mod support, and Fallout 4, it was said, was going to get in an update mod support.
Correct.
This week, it was announced from Sony and confirmed by Bethesda.
No, backwards.
Announced by Bethesda and confirmed by Sony.
Correct.
That there will not be coming.
What are you saying?
There will not be mod support, is what I'm trying to say. And that makes me very frustrated.
Did you read any more into it than that?
From what I understand, Bethesda says that they wanted to make this happen, but Sony got in the way too much. And the way that they foresaw their vision of what modding looked like was going to be like anybody could submit it, and it could be like any mod on there. And apparently Sony wanted to control it more, and so like their visions didn't match up, and so they've given up with them. And then I saw Microsoft do some really trolly tweets afterwards, because they do have mod support already. True. So,
so Bethesda's pretty much said, hey, these have been ready since Xbox Ones came out, but Sony, we haven't come to a conclusion with Sony, so we haven't released them.
Yeah.
So it's completely ready, but Sony doesn't want the way that they want to do it, so they're not going to come. That's sad for Fallout 4.
It is.
For people that have PS4, which is like 50 million people. That's more sad for Skyrim. I think that's because what's the point of having a definitive edition of Skyrim if there's not going to be mod support? Because on Skyrim, that was a big old thing. Like, you get the DLC and you get upgraded graphics, and you also have these mods that you can play. And a lot of people are excited to have those mods on PS4.
Right, for sure.
And they're like, well, I just get the DLC where I already have the DLC. Like, I just get updated graphics, well, all right. Yeah, but also, Skyrim ran really badly on PS3. So I'm excited to play it in a way that won't run bad.
But for me, the only reason I was even going to buy Skyrim on PS4 was for the mod support. Because I have all of the expansions and everything on my PC already. And honestly, I shouldn't even buy it in the first place because I have access to mods through Steam.
Yeah, what's up with that?
But I actually think my PlayStation has a better graphics card than my
PC?
My PC now.
That's funny.
It's happened. That's how old my gaming computer is.
There's something that I wanted to say along those lines. Oh, also, this hasn't been explicitly connected yet, but Xbox says that they're ready to have interplay between Xbox and PS4. And if PS4 has this much problem with Bethesda and mods, why on earth would people think that they can play Xbox and PS4 together? Like, this is kind of old news. People have been talking this a month or two ago. I think around E3, maybe before E3. Well, Xbox is like, yeah, we'll definitely have interconnected servers. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Why would Sony... First of all, why would Sony do that to begin with? But second of all, now that they've shown their hand in this way with Bethesda, like, why on earth would you think that they would also play with Xbox?
So you're seeing a connection between the way they worked with Bethesda and the way they would work with Microsoft?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like...
Yeah, I mean, I think that could be considered valid, right?
I would say so.
It just seems like they want to control it. They want all the control. They're like the master puppet. They're like the master hand in Smash Brothers.
The master of puppets.
It's trying to take everything in.
Well,
have it its own way, which it is their system.
Sony is the master hand. Does that make Microsoft crazy hand?
Yeah.
The left.
Duh. And it makes me Fox because he's my favorite.
You're right.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah. What else do we got?
So that's sad news.
It is.
But I also do think that you can kind of see elements of that again with the Xbox and PS4 server connections. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Just like Kingdom Hearts 3 is never going to happen.
Correct. At least on the PS4 and the Xbox One era. But again, the Xbox One era is ending next year with Scorpio coming out.
Is that going to be an actual new console?
4 teraflops of something.
Teraflops?
I don't know what teraflop is. I really want to look up the Google Trends after the E3 when they announced that and see search trends for teraflops before E3 and search trends for teraflops after E3 and see how much of a difference it was. But I didn't do it.
Teraflops?
Yeah.
Is that like something they said?
Yes. It's a thing.
Teraflop is not a thing.
It is.
A terabyte is a thing.
Do you want me to look it up?
Sort of.
Okay.
What's a teraflop?
Talk about something and I'll look up teraflop.
Teraflop to me sounds like some 80s sci-fi
teraflop,
movie.
a unit of computing speed equal to 1 million floating point operations per second.
Oh, okay. Well, I am wrong. I guess a teraflop's a thing.
Hold on. Keep talking about other things I'm going to look up.
It just to me sounds like...
Google Trends.
7.21 gigawatts.
7.21 gigawatts.
Back to the Future. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh, dang.
You're trying to see what it is?
Teraflops. Search term. So I guess I'll go to my news since you have nothing to talk about.
There it is.
Okay. In March. No, that's June. Yeah. So nothing and then skyrocketed. I wish they gave me actual numbers.
Yeah.
What? It lists breakouts by related topics. Number one is Xbox video game console. The second one is Scorpio astrology. Whatever that means.
It doesn't categorize.
And then everything else is video games, electronic entertainment, Expo, E3, PlayStation 4, graphics processing unit.
There you go.
Interesting. Sweet. So two things happen in the comic book movie universe. One Marvel, one DC. Which one do you want to do first? Marvel it is. There was leaked images of Shocker from Spider-Man Homecoming. So we already have confirmed Vulture, and now we have confirmed Shocker. I would not be surprised if, one, they're not doing an origin story, because they kind of did that in Civil War.
Yeah.
But two, if the movie opened up with him fighting Shocker, just to kind of give like everybody like one an action scene, two a reintroduction to this new Tom Holland Peter Parker and this / Spider-Man. Because Shocker's a big villain-ish. I would compare him to Vulture. I would say they're equivalent.
Okay.
But Vulture's already been cast as like the main villain. So either one, there's going to be two main villains. That's cool. Or two, Shocker's just like fodder. Fodder for... Shocker's just fodder for like the beginning. Again, just to like showcase what he can do.
Okay.
I mean, he might come back at the end, but...
He could be like a minor villain that becomes a bigger villain later.
Yeah.
Maybe he's in like his own development in this movie. Perhaps.
There's two images shown of him like walking down a staircase from top view. So like you didn't really get a good look at him. You could tell he has the classic pincushion suit. It looks like a pincushion. You don't know what it looks like?
I don't.
Do you want me to show you as well?
No, it's good.
Cool. So I immediately saw him like, oh, that's Shocker. What a shocker. But that's just another villain confirmed for this movie. There's already a lot of people in this movie. I don't want to go over them all. We've done it before. I did that in the newscast. One of those 8.
I'm excited for it. Is there a release date for that movie, or release
that's next year?
Time.
There probably is, but I don't have it right.
It's probably next May or something. They do a lot of
it's probably the same time that like Civil War came out.
That's what I would guess.
Summer. The next one is about the Batman solo movie.
Oh, I think I already know what this one is.
Hasn't officially been announced yet.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't officially said they're going to do a Batman solo movie, but Ben Affleck tweeted out a video, like a test footage of Deathstroke. Mm-hmm. And then later, about a week or two later, they confirmed that Joe Manganiello?
You're crushing it right now.
That guy has been cast as Deathstroke.
There you go. That's what I
so funny things about him. One, his most notable role is in Magic Mike.
Yep.
Which is fine. I mean, he's super ripped, so why not be Deathstroke? Second one, I found out that he was Flash Thompson in one of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. In Spider-Man 1. The original Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
You might remember the scene. It's right after Peter Parker gets his powers.
Yeah.
And so he's in the cafeteria, and Mary Jane slips, and he uses the spider sense and catches all the food on the tray.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then later, he's in the hallway.
And he gets in that fight.
He gets in a fight with Flash Thompson. That's Joe Manganiello. Joe M.
Yeah, cool.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
So while they haven't confirmed a solo Batman movie, they are confirming villains and people cast.
So essentially, they're confirming the movie itself.
Yes. What, do you have any expectations or high hopes for a Batman solo movie directed by Ben Affleck and acted by Ben Affleck?
I keep hearing that DC is trying to get lighter.
I saw that.
And I think that could be a good move for them because they've obviously not done very well being dark. So might try a change up. I think I'm like cautiously not even optimistic. I'm not optimistic. I want to be optimistic because generally I like to be that, but I've been burned enough times by DC that...
Specifically for a Batman solo movie or
No.
the DC universe?
DC universe.
How about just specifically the Batman solo movie? Or do you still need to like see Wonder Woman first and Justice League and stuff?
I can't make an informed judgment about Batman solo movie without... Like, I can't make a judgment without like putting everything else that they've ever done in. It's like post Dark Knight trilogy, it's been bad. Okay. So I think it's going to continue to be bad.
What about
unless something goes terribly right? Because they
accidentally right.
At this point, seriously, Suicide Squad was disappointing to me. I mean, it was entertaining, but it was disappointing. Batman v Superman was hyped up beyond belief and was not good.
But what about the Batman scenes in Batman v Superman?
I mean,
let me remind you of some.
Yeah.
The first time we were introduced to Batman, do you remember? It was like the first scene in the movie.
The Hunter thing?
I don't know what you're talking about. Where there's two cops that get called to a broken down shack. Oh yeah. And there's some villain in there, like some rapist or murderer or whatever. And it's like a scary movie type thing where it's from the perspective of the cops, and they're terrified. Yeah. They don't know what's in it. They've heard that the bat's here and they know there's a criminal. So they go in there, they're more afraid of Batman than the criminal itself. Yeah. And then it pans and you see the Batman in the corner. Yeah, yeah. And you're like, that's a really cool introduction to him. And then he flies out. He doesn't hurt anybody, other than the fact that he branded the villain. And people were like, Batman would never do that. I'm like, Batman would totally do that.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? It's Batman.
Yeah, I mean, he breaks people's nose.
He's dark. How does he not kill people? And we've talked about this before.
He has killed people.
He literally just like breaks people's bones and leaves them in the street all the time.
Yeah, and anyway, if you like, how is a brand any different than a criminal coming to jail with like 70 different broken bones?
Yeah, you would know.
You know. It's like, did you get hit by a car? No, I got hit by the Batman. Yeah. So it's not really any different that way. But then also there was the warehouse fight scene at the very end. Yeah. Which was pretty legit.
It was pretty brutal.
Right?
I mean, that's like the way to, I think, describe Ben Affleck's Batman as just brutal.
I also don't think that the fight between Batman and Superman was that bad. Up until the Martha part.
Mom? Martha? Why do you say that name? My mom is Martha. And your mom is Martha. So now we're friends.
Now we're brothers.
And that's how it goes.
But other than the wanton murders that take place in the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And a few in the warehouse scene.
Yeah.
Like, the Batman itself, the Ben Affleck's Batman was not bad. Also, that training montage that he did was legit.
Right, and I don't think Ben Affleck acts like a bad Batman. I think he portrays a good Batman. I just don't trust their writing. Like, none of their movies have had good plots. Seriously, Martha, again, that's a plot point. Isn't that a huge hole? Not hole. It's dumb. It's just a dumb device that they use. Let's have a net monster.
Oh, I also found out that, Bruce Wayne's father's name is Thomas, and Aquaman's father's name is Thomas.
I wonder if there's going to be a Thomas scene.
Anyway, but you have to keep in mind that Ben Affleck not only is playing Batman, is also directing it.
Didn't he help with Batman v Superman?
I don't know if he helped that much.
Was he a producer for that? I can't remember.
I think he was just there. Let me look it up.
I can't remember.
So something has to come of that. And they're also changing the writing staff. I don't know, have names and stuff, but they realize that the stuff that they've been doing is bad. Well, but I think they might have realized it a little too late.
I am going to be neutral.
What am I looking up? Batman v Superman? Batman v Superman.
The only way I'm going to go see it is if it's on a weekend and I'm bored.
That's not true. We're going to go together.
Are we?
We had to do an episode.
We didn't talk about that.
It's not out for forever.
I gotta go see this stupid movie.
No, it'll be alright.
Dang it.
It got 1 win and 7 nominations. Do you want to see what that win was?
What? Special effects.
Golden Trailer Awards.
What is it? Tell me.
It is the winner in the most original poster.
That's such a bad award.
Okay, the writers, so directed by Zack Snyder, writers were Chris Terrio and David Goyer and others, but not Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Ben Affleck isn't on here at all.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll have not a negative opinion. I'll just have a neutral opinion. That's what I'll have.
Just a neutral?
I'm not going to tear it down, but I'm not going to talk about it positively either, because I just can't. I can't. I've been burned too many times.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Hold on. I'm looking up the Batman solo movie.
It still hurts. That's how bad I got burned.
Really?
Yeah.
Untitled Batman Reboot, it says. That's what they're calling it. Bruce Wayne Batman. The plot is unknown. J.K. Simmons, I forgot, is Gordon.
Yep.
Detective Gordon. Have you seen the picture of him? Is he working out?
Which one?
J.K. Simmons?
No.
He's more ripped than Ben Affleck.
What?
J.K. Simmons is like 70.
There you go.
It's stupid. Yeah, so Ben Affleck is the director, and then Ben Affleck is also the writer. I don't have anything else on here.
Gotcha.
Let me see what else he's written, because he's written some good stuff. He was producer and director on, Good Will Hunting, Gone Girl, which both those movies are fantastic. Some people don't like them, but
they did well.
Argo won a whole bunch of awards. The Town.
I remember that.
Gone Baby Gone. I guess he was also the writer for I Killed My Lesbian Wife, Hung Her on a Meat Hook, and Now I Have 3 Picture Deal at Disney.
What?
That came out in 1993.
That's a movie?
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Interesting. I also found out.
Tell me.
I have a whole bunch of news, I guess. Jared Leto is the lead singer for 30 Seconds to Mars.
Seriously?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
So, Joker.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, but...
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Let's talk about PS4 press conference.
PS4 Pro?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
It's also a good name. I like that name. More than PS4 Neo.
Yeah, I do too. It makes more sense too. Initially, I was like... watching it and I was like, so this is essentially a new console. But then when they talked about their vision and talked about the features, it seems like it's actually it's really not. It just seems like a PlayStation 4 for 4K resolution and HDR. That's the overall impression I got, is that it's really just about those 4K TVs with all the fancy stuff on them. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really do much else. That makes me interested in it.
Yeah.
It's just that 4K resolution, which I don't have a 4K TV, so for me, this is kind of a cool thing that they're trying to do, but irrelevant to me because I have a 1080p and I don't have money to go out and buy a 4K TV because those things are expensive.
Yeah. What would you need one for?
Huh?
What would you need one for anyway?
I don't know. So to me, this is just like, hey, we have a PS4. Some of you guys have 4K TVs and don't have a reason to have them. Here's something now you can use with them to actually max out what they can do. And then now you have a PS4.
Yeah.
With high resolution.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. I mean, other than, I guess, PlayStation VR, right? Mm-hmm. Other than that, there's like no reason. And I'm not that gung-ho about VR to upgrade my PS4 to a Pro just for that. And I'm not going to buy a 4K TV anytime soon. So, I don't know. It just seemed kind of pointless to me. I watched the video on YouTube, and I was driving while I was listening to it.
What?
I know. I shouldn't have done, but I did. And I just clicked the first one because I was driving, so I was like, I don't want to look at this longer than I need to. And it was the full conference, but these guys were narrating over it, and they would not shut up about 60 frames per second the whole time. And they would say something, he'd be like, oh, that's dumb. Why does that even make sense? But he would never explain what his thinking. It was just oh, that's dumb. Why would they show that game? They didn't show The Last of Us 2. I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, they showed footage from Shadow of Mordor.
Did they?
The game's been out for 3 years.
I know it has. It's a good game.
And then I also showed footage from Last of Us Remastered, which I get is a huge Sony profile. Yeah. But it's also been out for a long time. And Infamous. First Light, which they now changed just to First Light. It doesn't. No.
Does it have Infamous
it's
on
Infamous First Light instead of Infamous Second Son. I don't know. It's one. I don't know. Who knows? My thoughts are, I've listened to a lot of things and done some research, are similar to yours, whereas this system essentially means nothing. Yeah. People are up in arms about it, and there's some comparisons that can be made, but I did some research, and I went to PlayStation's own frequently asked questions, and I wanted to know, are PS4 Pro games going to be any different from PS4 games? And essentially, they said no.
Essentially, it's HDR will be enabled.
But I'm talking specifically about the disc.
Oh, yeah.
And from what I understood, you could essentially play a PS4 Pro game on your old PS4 system. Yeah. So,
what's the point?
No, not necessarily what's the point, but just when you ship out the new systems November 10th, just ship out every game now PS4 Pro. Because you can still buy that and play it on your old PS4, from what I understood. Yeah. So some arguments I've been seeing are now games have to be calibrated for 2 different systems. While that's probably true, you have to calibrate it for the PS4 Slim, which is now the standard, and then also the PS4 Pro. So there's going to be 2 different copies of each game out. Why not just make it one copy, PS4 Pro, you can play it on the old PS4? Or the PS4 Slim. Because now, every PS4 is going to get updated with HDR. So you're going to see that. And old games like Black Ops 3 that have already been bought for my PS4, if I wanted to, I could then upgrade to a PS4 Pro just with an update. Yeah. So I just want to see when the new system comes out and the new game, well, the new system, quote unquote, and the new games come out, just replace every game on the shelf with a PS4 Pro game. Right? Because there's literally no difference. That takes out all the confusion. If it works the way I think it does and the way I think it should, there'll be no confusion. Why would it say Skyrim Definitive Edition is on one side, PS4. Skyrim Definitive Edition, PS4 Pro. Why? Which one do I get? They're both the same price, right? So it also takes up shelf space. You have to have 2 different things. Right. Well, just make one disc that works on both.
Well, that's what I thought they said.
So that's what I think.
Do. I thought they were going to say every game will load from the same disc. It'll just, if you have PS4 Pro, it'll allow you to do extra, automatically do the extra upgrades to the resolution and things.
See, that's what I think it does. That's what I hope it does.
And I think
that's the only thing that makes sense.
I don't know why I don't know. They would never print both. That'd be such a waste of resources. Right? They're just probably going to put on the front of every box compatible with Pro, or have a Pro symbol on the front of the case or something, or on the side.
They've shown what the symbol looks like. That's why I got this idea.
Is it the Pro thing?
It's just for PlayStation Pro or whatever. Okay. But there are some things. There's no 4K Blu-ray player in the new PS4 Pro. Yeah. So it's really just built for streaming in 4K and not actually which is weird because the discs we use are Blu-ray. So how is there not a 4K Blu-ray reader if you have a 4K disc?
Right. I don't know.
The PS4 Slim now is a standard PS4 model. That's $300, where the PS4 Pro is now $400. I think The PS4 Pro for $400 is a good price.
I think so,
that's
too.
fair.
It's
I think the
competitive.
$300 for the PS4 Slim is a great deal as well.
Yeah.
Comparisons can be made to Xbox, which have been done. The Xbox One S Slim version can pretty much do everything that the PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro do, just in one system instead of two. So people are some people are upset about that. And Xbox One Slim sold more copies in August than the PS. Wait, take it back. Xbox One sold more copies in August than PS4.
Yeah, I saw that tweet as well.
Now, that makes sense. There's 50 million people that have a PS4. It's about time people bought some Xbox Ones. That doesn't worry me at all.
Well, in my mind, this has been a long race between PS4 and Xbox One. Obviously, PS4, I think, has won this generation. I think this is the first time that I've said, well, in reference to what we said earlier in the news about like Bethesda and the modding, and then also Scorpio. From what I understand, Scorpio is going to be like way more than what the PS4 Pro is.
What if that's about that too? I'm getting there, Justin. Don't put the cart ahead of the horse.
I'm just saying.
Whereas I'm the horse and you're the cart.
It just starts to look like
get behind me.
Xbox is starting to
follow in my lead. I'm not there yet.
Why aren't you there?
I'm baiting the hook.
Come on, man. I'm ready to go.
All right. So E3 2016.
Oh my gosh.
There was no mention of at that time PS4 Neo. They said Andrew House said there's not going to be PS4 Neo here. Xbox had already shown the Scorpio. They've already said this has 4 teraflops, 8 teraflops, 1,000 teraflops.
A bunch of teraflops.
All this. This is what the system is going to be. These are the specs. And they might have done that out of fear. Because the PS4 Neo had been announced so much earlier than that, what if the conference that was just shown, the PS4 conference, PS4 Pro conference, was just a bluff to get Microsoft to show its hand? So now, Sony has a year and a half to work on something comparable to the Scorpio. Because they've gone on record and said the PS4 Pro is not their new system. It's just an upgrade. It's just what people have been calling future-proofing, because eventually people will have 4K TVs. I want a system that works with a 4K TV. If my PS4 breaks now, today, I'm not going to go out and buy a PS4 Pro. I'll buy a Slim. It'll be $300. But if I ever have an intention of getting a 4K TV, I would also get a PS4 Pro. But at that point, the PS5 will be out. But I think the PS4 Neo, in this conference was all a bluff to get Xbox. Maybe not a bluff. But I think it worked in their favor, because now Xbox has shown the specs for the new system. PS4 is still working behind the scenes. Sony's still working behind the scenes on the PS5. They can make it equivalent to the Xbox One or Xbox Scorpio without ever having to say anything.
I think
because this is the PS4 Pro is just like half a step forward, where the Scorpio is a full step, maybe even a jump forward from the Xbox One. So clearly, Sony is going to make another step or a jump forward to the PS5. The PS4 Pro is nowhere near a PS5. That's not what a PS5 is going to be. But now Sony knows what Xbox is planning to do with the Scorpio.
See, my question is, it seems like in the past, almost every generation comes out around the same time as each other, which, with the exception of the PS3, had so many long delays. It was supposed to come out when the 360 came out, but ended up coming out like almost a year later because of all the manufacturing issues. But if they're making Scorpio this soon, PS5 is not even announced yet, is this going to stagger the generational releases? And how does that affect the way gaming works?
You want to look at some history?
Yeah, sure. I love history.
Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, there's 2 years between them. Sega Genesis in 1989, and Super Nintendo was 1991. Sega Saturn released in 1995, Nintendo 64 in 96, and the PlayStation was released in 1994. So a total of 2 years between the earliest and the latest. Dreamcast was 99, GameCube was 2001, PS2 was 2000, and Xbox was 2001. So again, 2 years between Dreamcast and the latest, which was the GameCube and Xbox One. PlayStation 3 was released in 2006, Xbox 360 in 2005, and the Wii in 2006. And then the PlayStation 4 was in formatting. PlayStation 4 was in 2013, Xbox One was in 2013, the Wii U was in 2012. Even though they had a year before everybody else, they still didn't sell anything. So, I think only the last year, the last generation was released in the same year. PS4 and Xbox One.
Well, but everything's in like 2 years.
Within a year.
Like, do you think PS5 is going to come out within 2 years of Scorpio?
If Scorpio comes out 2017, from this point, PlayStation has 2 years to work on it while still being in the area. Right? So they could come out in 2018, a whole year after Scorpio, and still come out with PlayStation 5. And whatever happens to technology in that could be great.
Right. Well, that's what I feel like. It's a weird game to play because obviously, if you come out with it first, people will buy it first, right? Like if you're like looking to upgrade to the new generation, like I think of like the 360. 360 like destroyed PlayStation 3, especially in that first year because PS3 wasn't out.
Yeah.
And like it was said it was going to be out, but then they kept delaying it, and so everybody just got fed up and bought 360s. And so there's something to be said about releasing it early, but at the same time, by the end of the PS3's like they were doing pretty well from what I understand.
They sold more than Xbox 360 in total.
So
by the end of it, but then I mean,
so what's better? Is it better to wait and have better specs, or is it, or where's the line between waiting and releasing? Releasing now versus releasing later, because like you have to release one eventually. Yeah. So it's not like you can just like indefinitely wait. But is it best to go first or is it best to go last? I don't know.
I still think that the PS4 Pro puts a real something right in the middle, like a real crackdown between just the PS4 sales in general. Essentially, they should have released just the PS4 Slim. Because we have a Slim model. That's not going to hurt anybody. But now people have to decide between two different systems.
So do you think this is going to help or hurt sales overall? Because I still think this will help sales overall. I don't think it's going to be like a huge...
I think it's neutral.
I don't think it's going to be like a huge release or something, but there might be some people who see the 4K, like 4K people, like, oh yeah, definitely buying a PS4.
Yeah.
Like, that could be some new people who wouldn't have bought a PS4 otherwise.
I think this kind of ties into the sales of the PSVR. So we'll see. I mean, they've already been sold out twice on pre-orders. So those are selling. I don't know if people also now need to buy the PS4 Pro. Sony is still doing head and shoulders above Xbox One. It'll be interesting to see if Xbox One comes back. But there's still some really good PlayStation games coming out. The only one I can think of currently on the top of my head is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is coming. Well, that and Quantic Dreams, Detroit Become Human.
Is the one for Honor too, like a Sony exclusive?
No, it's Ubisoft. It might be.
I think it is.
But
it's like a medieval game.
So all that, and if they ever announce The Last of Us 2, which from what I understand they haven't even started working on. They're still working on DLC for Uncharted 4. But those are big games that'll come out that's exclusively for PS4.
Yeah.
As we know, the Halo release on Xbox One has been pathetic. Recently, I mean, a lot of that just has to do with people not buying it. It'll be interesting to see what the PS4 Pro sells in Japan, because Japan's all over Sony all the time. And as I said last week, Xbox One doesn't sell at all in Japan. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see that. The only increase in sales I would think would come from the PS4 Slim. Like I said, if my PS4 conked out right now, I would buy a Slim. It has a more memory, it has better specs, and it's smaller and it's cheaper than the PS4 I have now. But I got this PS4 for free.
So there's that.
Technically. Yeah. So I've owned two, but I've only bought one.
There you go.
Well, I technically bought this one, but I finagled my way to get it for free.
You essentially got it for free.
Yeah. My net not income.
Your net spending?
Yeah, net spending was negative.
Or your value to cost ratio?
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting. PS4 Pro. There it is. I don't know what to think about it. I'm probably not going to buy it.
My statement is it means nothing.
It means nothing to me.
A lot of people are freaking out and saying, oh my gosh, this makes Xbox One this generation because PS4 Pro. And I think it means absolutely nothing. Specifically if they only make games now that are one disc, but you can play it on both systems.
Yeah, and from what I said when I watched it, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they said. That's how I interpreted it.
Otherwise, oh my goodness, this is such a bad misstep.
Right.
Because then
it's a new console. It's not what they said.
Splitting your marketing. You're splitting your market share literally in half. If Best Buy only has one section for PS4 and now you have to split it between PS4 Slim and PS4 Pro, you only get half the games out.
People are going to be mad.
Right.
But, again, I don't think that's what they're doing with this. From what I understand, they're just doing 4K, HDR, and then that'll also tie into the VR later.
Yeah.
So, to me, like, when I watched it, I was a lot less concerned about Sony than what I was thinking about it before. When we first heard about the Neo, we were like, they're making another console?
Yeah.
And we're worried about this being another console. Right? I mean, the PS4 hasn't even been out for, like, a full cycle, I don't think.
No, it's like, right on.
Is it?
Like, I can pull up the stats again, but actually I will.
Was it 2013?
It came out in 2013. Yeah. Let me find my console wars. So, okay. So PlayStation, Sony PlayStation released in 1994. PS2 released in 2000. That's 6 years. PlayStation 2 released in 2000. PS3 released in 2006. That's 6 years. PlayStation 4 released in 2013.
So 6
PS4
years.
PS4 would be technically 2019, but we're getting to that point. Xbox 2001, Xbox 360 2005. That's 4 years. Xbox 360 to Xbox One 2005 to 2013. So that's a good chunk of change. But again, they're pretty much right on track.
Every 6 years, roughly?
Essentially. Every 5 to 6 years.
So 2019 would be their next console.
2017 would be 4 years.
Would be 4 years. And that seems short to me. And I think that, you can't release a console that short. I mean, you can, because people have done it in 4 years. Xbox One or Xbox 360 from
Scorpios.
Xbox.
I mean, like I said, Scorpio's coming out
going
first.
to be one.
So Sony's like...
Yeah.
Maybe they use this leak to their advantage. People have been talking about the PS4 Neo forever. And yeah, people have been talking about Scorpio, but Xbox showed what the Scorpio is going to be. They didn't show what the case is going to look like, but they showed what's going to be inside of it. So PS4 says...
All those teraflops.
So PS4 is like, they have 4 teraflops, we have 4 teraflops. They have this, we have this, we have this, this, and this. So now they have a checklist to go down and say, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, instead of working against something that they didn't know about.
Right.
So, which Xbox has to do. Right. Xbox had to show first. They didn't have to. But Xbox showed first without knowing what PS4 was going to do.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with it all.
That's my thoughts.
Should be interesting.
So, soundtracks in video games are very important to us. We like to listen to music. You have a video game playlist on Spotify.
I have multiple video game playlists on Spotify. One of them is
redundant.
It is, but one is crunk music, and it goes crazy. It's like remixes and stuff. The other one's just like straight up
Kronk.
Squeaker. That's what when you say crunk. Pull the lever, wrong lever. So yeah, to me, it's like when you watch those YouTube videos of movies without soundtracks. And it's so awkward. It's like the worst experience. It's almost painful to watch.
Have you watched
those YouTube videos?
YouTube videos of like sitcoms without laugh tracks?
No.
Big Bang Theory has a whole series of like, I mean, they didn't put them, but someone put videos of Big Bang Theory without laugh tracks, and it's so hard to watch.
It's so bad.
It's so bad, and it's like the jokes aren't funny. People only chuckle because other people are laughing. Everything else is just like super offensive. Like, I can't believe this is on the air.
Yeah.
So take a second and watch Big Bang Theory without laugh tracks. So funny to think about. Also along the lines, Garfield minus Garfield, super funny. You heard about that?
No.
They take strips of Garfield and they remove Garfield and all of his lines. So it's just John there being depressed and talking to himself. And it's so funny. Because he responds to nothing. And he just like, he walks in all depressed. And obviously Garfield's like super snarky. So he has a conversation with Garfield, but Garfield doesn't say anything. And then John just like walks out even more depressed. So awesome.
Oh man, that's
so
rough.
Great. Anyway, soundtracks.
They're crucial, man. If you don't have a good soundtrack, and if it doesn't complement your game, then you got a crappy game.
I have a whole list here of like 10 games.
Yeah.
Game series.
I mean, I have one franchise that I think of.
Tell me. You go first. You do one, I'll do 10.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are two that I would talk about.
Gosh.
But
you do 2, I do 10.
The main one.
You do 1, I do 5. You do 1, I do 5.
The main one I think is Final Fantasy. And I always go to Final Fantasy because I love their stories. And I literally just found a new album on Spotify of like piano reductions of those songs.
I think you told me that.
Through all of them, and I've been listening to it for like a week because the music is just so pretty and beautiful. And it brings back a lot of emotions.
Orchestral.
Of those games, you know, and obviously technology is advanced, so now we can get music that's It's not like 8-bit or 16-bit or like digital, whatever. I think of like PlayStation 1 soundtracks versus PlayStation 2 soundtracks, a little bit different. Like Final Fantasy X had really good like orchestral music to it, as opposed to Final Fantasy IX, which had more of like electronic to it.
Synth pop.
Because they're just like, you're limited by the technology that you have. But a lot of those melodies, like, I still pick out and remember today. Like, I was listening to that soundtrack, and I was like, I remember which game this is. I remember this part. And so the music just, like, fits so well with the emotions of the scene. It just gets me, man. There's one I think of specifically called Freya, and it's the theme of one of the characters in Final Fantasy IX. And you go to her home, like, city, which she's, like, a knight from that city. And you go there, and the whole place is, like, destroyed. And there's just, like, really...
Whoa,
like,
spoilers, dude.
Dude, it's been out for, like, 12 years.
Dang, I haven't played it.
Whatever. Either way, Freya, it's super sad. I mean, it's not a major point. It's kind of a major point.
Whoa!
It's not
major spoilers.
It's there. It's all destroyed. And so you go there, and, like, she's super sad, and you're, like, trying to fight your way just to see if there's any survivors, and this music is just in the background the whole time, and it's just, like, super sad. And... it just brings it back to me when I listen to those soundtracks, like those emotions that I felt when I was in like 5th grade or 6th grade, whenever I played that game. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. So, I don't know, music just can bring you back to that moment, and I love it. And Final Fantasy, I think, consistently delivers good music.
I want to do a caveat and say that no handhelds are on my list because I always play handhelds with no sound on.
Yeah.
That goes back to the car riding days where maybe I'd be like, turn that sound off.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't play.
Nobody wants to hear that.
I know. And the stylistic music on handheld is like bad.
I mean, it's similar to like Super Nintendo stuff like that.
Right.
And it's better now.
It is much better.
But some people always talk about like, oh, the soundtrack to like Pokemon's so good and this and this. I'm like, I don't really know. Like I know the Pokemon songs and stuff like that, but I had a friend who could tell what Pokemon was appearing based on the sound that the Pokemon made because he always put the sound on.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you live with yourself?
That's too much for me. But that was the first one I thought of.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go through the second one?
Yeah. I'm in now.
Oh, now I just thought of a third one.
Oh yeah. My gosh.
So the second one that I listen to this music. This is like in my like regular playlist I play at school on a regular basis, and it is my favorite game ever. The Last of Us. It has really good music. There's a couple points with like some guitar riffs. It's just like acoustic classical guitar. And it's just so soothing, but it's like has like a hint of sadness to it because it's The Last of Us and everything is like dead and destroying and zombies. Spoiler alert, I guess. So
yeah,
that like that too. I don't know. I need to watch it. That one I thought of, but then I just thought of again Fallout series. Holy cow! The music in Fallout is so fun. I remember the first time I played Fallout 3. I was like, this is so weird. I'm like,
bongo, 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 I don't want to leave the Congo. No.
He's hacking and whacking and slapping. Yeah, like, all that stuff when you're going around, like, shooting raiders' heads off and things.
Fallout
like,
through the Fallout, baby.
Yeah. I don't want to set
you love that song. Did the trailer for Fallout 3 using that song?
I know.
So sick. Like, it would pan out from... like a TV set to the bus. You see all DC.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this song is awesome.
I know. So the music was just like stylistically so good to counteract what you see. It's like they're counter, and it makes it so awesome.
And I mentioned it has all the Patriot music too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want to go through my list? Sweet.
So that's what I got.
I'll also touch on the things that you did. So I'll do that first. I have Fallout 3 on here, specifically. I think Fallout 3 has a better soundtrack than Fallout 4. Fallout 4 has more songs, but I think it was nicer to see that first encompass in Fallout 3. Yeah. You expected it for Fallout 4. Again, a lot of people say Fallout 4 is just more Fallout 3, whereas Fallout 2 to Fallout 3 was completely different.
It was. It was a giant leap.
So yeah, Fallout 3 is on my list. I have Uncharted 4 / The Last of Us for a different reason than you do. So yeah, there's music in both of those games. That's not music that I remember. I put it on there because we're talking about soundtracks. We're talking about audio files. Put it on there specifically for voice acting and the sounds.
For sure.
The sounds around the game. So obviously in in The Last of Us, you have a listening ability. You crouch and you listen and you hear the things. But what I like more is when you're walking around and you're sneaking up on somebody, you can hear a conversation they're having. That happens in a lot of games. But it happens in these games as well as the voice acting is just top notch.
Yeah,
Like,
the voice actors are really good.
and just the way they put it in, it's probably some of the best voice acted Uncharted series and Last of Us that I've seen in a video game. Can you think of a better one?
I can't think of any better example of that.
Of voice acting / cutscene.
Than those two guys.
Yeah.
Than those two movies, or video game series.
Yeah. Troy Baker and Nolan North.
Yeah, they kill it.
Dude. I also have Dragon Quest / JRPGs, just in general. For the most part, all of those have the same kind of music. It's all orchestral. It's all 8-bit to orchestral. It's all you hear the rhythms all the time because you play those games for so long. Every battle theme is almost exactly the same when you're fighting random battles, so that gets stuck in your head. The overworld theme is almost always similar, so you always hear that. I'm not saying those are bad things. I'm saying those are incredible. You hear that all the time. You get so used to it. It gets ingrained into your brain.
Right. That when you adventure, you need to listen to this music.
Yeah. So you have a relationship with Final Fantasy where you listen to that music.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest VIII was the first video game I ever wanted to own the soundtrack to.
For. Yeah.
Because it's awesome.
That is awesome.
Other things on my list, we had a mention from one of our listeners. He wanted us to mention Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, dude, Chrono Trigger is a pretty good series too. It kind of fell through for me. I didn't own it. I think my friend Luke had it. Luke and Caleb. And
Caleb just got engaged.
Yeah, he did.
Congrats to someone.
Yeah, we play games with that guy. With Caleb, he's a good guy. They had Chrono Trigger though.
Yeah.
And Chrono Cross, I think. And so they had that series, and so I remember like they expressed how much they loved that series. And I feel like it's another one of those JRPG series that are good. That if you had grown up with it, you would have this would be your.
Well, it's on 3DS now. You can play it.
Can you?
And we have it on our Android devices, but I want to play it on. I want to rebuy it for the 3DS so I can play it because everyone's like, if they name like top 5 games and they play Chrono Trigger, Chrono Trigger's in that
almost
top 5.
always in the top 5. Yeah.
Chrono Cross not so much,
especially where it was. Like I feel like it played with a lot of for its time, played with a lot of features that other games didn't have.
That didn't. Yeah, that's right. I think I have some games on here that you'll either 1 slap yourself for not thinking of, or 2 think I'm a complete cop out.
Okay, let's see.
The first one that's going to be either one of those 2 is Guitar Hero / Rock Band.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's a game completely based around music.
That's true.
There's so many different kinds of music to it.
Yeah. That's just not how I interpret it, but I guess that makes sense.
But that's technically the soundtrack.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair, yeah.
So you have, it's a whole list.
Yeah, like all those.
Like
the only reason
all that stuff. There's some songs I never heard of before until I played those games.
I know. They're like classical rock songs that everybody knew were classics, but nobody had heard of them.
Yeah.
And then like now everybody in our generation knows those songs, and people are like, oh yeah, it's a classic. That's how you know it. Like, no, you know it because of Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And you know it because of Rock Band. Those are the only reasons you know those songs. There are like a lot of songs that I learned from Guitar Hero that apparently I was supposed to learn in real life outside of that, but I didn't.
Nah.
So.
Because you're too busy listening to Final Fantasy music.
Yeah, that's true. I was too busy playing video games.
But, see, like I said, you might count that as a cop-out, but I think it fits into the list.
It fits, I guess.
Next, I have Need for Speed games. They always
do have good playlists.
Good playlists that match kind of like the fast speed racing, obviously.
For sure.
One of my favorite games is Need for Speed Most Wanted, and it has a fantastic fantastic soundtrack that I also have another friend that I got him addicted to Need for Speed Most Wanted, and we sing it at each other all the time. When we see each other. It was super fun. So that had like Bullet for My Valentine, it had Disturbed, it had all these other things. I'm like, we always yell it, scream at each other. But it also fits. Emily, my wife, hates that kind of music, and whenever I play the game in the living room, I thought she would hate it. But she's like, no, it makes sense for the game. I'm like, I don't mind.
There you go.
Oh, cool. Something that you didn't add, which is surprising to me.
Oh, okay.
The Battlefront series.
Oh, yeah. Well, I could do, like, all of the songs in my head right now.
Yeah.
But it's all just Star Wars music.
Yeah. Battlefront took something from a beloved franchise and moved it into a game and then added its own music and added its music. So some of people's most favorite songs are now in this game.
Yeah. I mean, it just adds to the depth of feeling that you get by playing a game based on your favorite universe.
But also, the blasters make the same sound in the movies as the game. So that's part of the soundtrack.
I still remember the sound when you switch your cursor on the menu. Like turn. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. I can't make the sound, but it's like still iconic to me that I don't know why I can remember that so well, but it's so interesting.
But I mean, the AT-ATs make the same sound. They took literally the sounds from the movies and put it into a game.
Yeah,
and that's Battlefront 2 as well as the newest version of Battlefront.
Yeah. And I love it. I mean, that's part of the immersion factor. Like, if you're basing off of something that is so beloved as Star Wars, or like if you did a Harry Potter game, or like anything like that,
I'm sure there's music.
You have to do that because that's just immersion, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they do a good job of immersing players in that world.
Transistor
has awesome music.
It's on Spotify. I would suggest listening to it. I listened to it. I've never played the game, but I listened to the soundtrack like 6 different times.
Yeah.
Which makes me kind of want to play the game, but at the same time, I'm not really into those kind of games.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Because of the cassette tape?
Yeah.
That was such a cool feature of that game.
Right?
I was actually just thinking about that the other day. I was like, I could still be playing Metal Gear Solid 5, and I still don't think I would have had finished all of the content.
Yeah.
Because I don't have enough time to play like all the time. I can probably put like 5 hours on a game during a week, maybe. This week I didn't even do that, but yeah. So I could probably still be finding new cassette tapes with like 80s music on it, and that was like so much fun. Like part of the funness of like going to the different outposts and like little things is to try and find all those stupid cassette tapes.
Yeah, that, and then also just the iconic exclamation point when someone finds.
Yeah. I always, anytime I'm in a room and somebody has it as their text alert, I just always look for them and I'm like, dude, you got it.
And then when you die, they always do they shout snake, you know. So not only is it an iconic series for its visual or its audio cues, but they added on top of that, and they added all that cool music they could add. So it changed it up a little bit, but the soundtrack is awesome. Mm-hmm. I have Fallout 3 on here. BioShock. Not so much in the aspect of sound of music. There was good music in that, but almost the aspect of a lack of sound. You feel so alone in Rapture until you hear someone, and then you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm on edge. Now the hairs on the back of my neck are standing straight up. I might be in trouble. So it's not, I mean, again, we're talking about soundtracks. So it's not necessarily the fact that there is a lot, it's the fact that there's not sometimes things. You can hear Big Daddy's footsteps from so far away. Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking too. Like, I know my first experience with BioShock, which I've never beat one. I really haven't put a lot of time into them.
My gosh.
I tried to beat the first one, and I got like 16 hours in, and then I was done.
It's not that much longer. I don't even think it's 16 hours long.
I don't know.
Get the collection. It's coming out.
I just remember, though, that it was just super creepy. I was, like, walking up these steps, and I heard, like, people, like, laughing, like, and I was like, oh, my gosh. And it's just the silence in there. And then you hear the occasional, like, wet footsteps, like, and I was like, it's just too much.
There's one scene in it. It's kind of in the beginning. It's right when you get acquire the shotgun. So you're in the middle of this room. You pick up the shotgun. And you're like, oh, cool, a new weapon. All the lights shut off. Right? So you can't see it. It's literally pitch black. And then you hear footsteps running around you. The lights turn on for a second. You got to find the guy, shoot him. Lights turn off again.
Oh my god!
Find the guy, shoot another guy, and it goes on like that for a little while. But
too stressful.
It's so crazy. It's such a good game. So I just wanted to mention that soundtrack. What else I got? Halo. Iconic. Yeah. And then the overture. Yeah.
That's a good
for a first-person shooter. I mean, they've kept that music in throughout pretty much all the Halos. That's been going on for so long, since Combat Evolved.
Man, yeah, that's such a good pick. I bought the Halo 2 soundtrack.
Yeah.
Because it was so good.
Yeah.
And, like, the whole, like, intro music, too, in the second one, it goes from that, like, orchestral, and then it starts throwing in, like, electric guitars.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it so much. I wanted to play that on guitar so bad. I took it to my guitar teacher, and he was like, no, we're not doing it. You cannot do this. I was like, come on. He's like, this is above what I can do. I was like, dang it.
I really wanted to put games on the list that have soundtracks that you don't first think of. Because I looked at a whole bunch of lists of top 10 soundtracks of all time, and Ocarina of Time was always number one. I'm like, shut up.
Zelda does have good music, though.
Fine,
it's
whatever.
Iconic.
But, like, Halo has great music. I mean, there's a whole bunch of...
I think Mario has good music, too.
The very first... I think I've talked about everything on this list except for the first one that made me want to do this list.
What is that?
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Ah, dude, so true.
So good. I put down the whole Tony Hawk series, the whole Skate series, because they all have similar music, but Pro Skater 2 had some of the best music in all of games. When you talk about gaming soundtracks, if you don't mention Tony Hawk Pro Skater / Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, there's something wrong. there's music on that I still listen to. They had like the best like grunge, punk, ska music on there that nobody had ever heard before.
Yeah.
But it fits the game so well, and it evolved throughout the series. And then, I mean, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 through 4, Tony Hawk's Underground 1 and 2, and then also American Wasteland still has songs in there that I would not have known if not for that game that I still listen to today.
That's some good stuff.
So, I mean, obviously this list has stuff all over the place. It has classic songs that you hear on the radio and Tony Hawk and Guitar Hero, Need for Speed. Oh, I didn't mention that one. I missed one. It has orchestral and things like that in Halo and Final Fantasy. It has lack of soundtracks in Bioshock.
Yeah, use of silence.
The one I didn't mention, which I really also want to talk about, is Grand Theft Auto 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Not only in the fact that there's incredible music in that and you can change it, but I want to talk about the talk shows that they have on their radio. That goes on like hours and hours and hours of just information and jokes and stuff that they had to write for this game.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Not to mention just listening to conversations on the street, seeing things that happen in game, like in cutscenes. Like so much stuff has gone into this.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. Like they had to write so much, they had to record so much. And it can all be hilarious. I think you could probably put on the South Park games. I never played them.
I haven't either.
But I assume they're just as funny as the TV show.
Yeah, probably.
But I think that's my whole list. So I feel like we covered a whole broad list of them. And the whole point of this is not to talk about which one is specifically the best, but I wanted to bring to the table
just like a conversation about
very good video game soundtracks and what that means for games and how that can be more than just music, how that can be more than just voice acting, how it can be more than lack of sound. I think it's a combination of all of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and I mean, there's so many favorites out there. I know you listeners probably have some of your favorites too.
Dude.
And if you have them, go ahead and tweet them at us. We'd love to hear what your favorite music is. Because it matters for us. We're starting this conversation, essentially. This isn't a definitive list. So
that's right.
Yeah.
You can tweet at us at UP Gamers Podcast.
Yep.
If you don't want to tweet for whatever reason, if you don't have the Twitter, email us. If you don't have an email, seriously,
you need that for the 21st century.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
You can email us at underpaidgamerspodcast@gmail.com. You don't even have to do either one of those things. If you're listening on SoundCloud, just comment right here at this timestamp or 20 minutes ago, whatever, to say if we have something on specifically on my list, which also kind of encompasses your list, on our list, I'll say.
Yeah.
If there's something you agree with, something you disagree with, or something that needs to be added,
throw it down.
Let us know. Email. This will be on YouTube. I just about the YouTube. Comment on the YouTube below.
Yeah.
On the YouTube comments. Good old YouTube comments.
Yeah. And subscribe to our stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, guys.
Follow, subscribe, whatever all that stuff is.
You guys know what to do.
Thanks for listening. No idea what next week's topic's going to be about. Like I said,
we'll figure it out.
NFL has started, so nobody's doing anything.
Yep. Apparently. So we'll see you guys next time, right?
Next time on Underpaid Gamers Podcast.